There you go.
I beg to differ. Anyway. Bonsoir tout le monde.
Good evening, everyone.
Bienvenue à notre
Welcome to our meeting of September 16th. As always, I will start the meeting by saying we are gathering this evening on the unceded, non-traditional roof, the Mi'kmaq, where a peace and friendship treaty was signed with the British Crown in the 1700s. So, Mr. Clerk, we do have quorum. Everyone is here this evening. It says essentially conflicts of interest declaration. Any council members who would like to declare a conflict of interest on the items on tonight's agenda? Seeing no one, thank you. To adopt the agenda, you have in front of you the agenda. I would need a motion to adopt the agenda. Moved by Deputy Mayor Sylvie Colette Boudreau, seconded by Councillor Harry McElroy. Questions on the motion? If not, all in favor saying aye, against nay. Motion carried. So the minutes, we have the minutes of June 3rd, 2024. So I understand like the others will come as we go. So this one was ready anyway. So a few of them are still being written. I would simply need a motion to adopt the minutes. Moved by Councillor Joël Després, seconded by Councillor Emile O'Brien. Questions on the motion? Any questions, typos, omissions, errors? Questions on the minutes? Councillor Paul Boudreau. So the last time, like you voted, like for bicycle for the RCMP, was it? It's not in the minutes of June 3rd, so I cannot take this question for now. Yes, it's there. 8.21. I thought we did it before. Sorry. Yes, I didn't think. I think it was like in the spring, like we did it. Sorry. You know, like if the patrol we would have to check with them. So I think the next maybe the next one, like Caporal Billy was here, we could ask him the question. Thank you, Side. Sorry. All in favor saying aye. Against nay, motion carried. In terms of 6, public petitions, delegation 6.1, the budget for 2025 for downtown Centre-Ville Shediac. I see at the end of the room like the executive director Anne McGraw and the president Mrs. Roy. I apologize. So we have a call that we do not have time to be, can't afford to be sick these days. So good evening, mayors and council members. I'm Annie Croix. I'm the chair of the board for Centre-Ville Downtown, and I'm also the owner of the Dixie in Shediac. And with me, as I have the director of the corporation, Anne McGraw. So thanks for welcoming us this evening to present the budget for the corporation 2025. Centre-Ville, you should have received like the letter, the budget for 2025. So you did receive the commitment. So the corporation, we are managing under the provincial act that says like the municipalities have to approve the annual budget so the Department of Finance can proceed with the addition, the improvement of the VIA. So during our board meeting held on September 10, the directors adopted the operating budget for 2025, the reduced expenses, 127,200 for 2024. We estimate like the revenues of the zone for the business, 110,000, 175, like all the, so the assessment will remain the same, 20 cents for each $100 property assessment for a non-residential business property. In preparation for 2025, like the board for Centre-Ville Shediac Downtown is asking you to adopt the 2025 budget. Do you have any questions on the budget for 2025? Questions by the members? Councillor Janice Cormier. So the only question I have, I think I had mentioned like last year, did you implement like a plan maybe to start to make some changes like with our Christmas decoration? I know it's a major cost. Like I know we had that for is downtown Shediac planning something maybe not for next year, but 4 or 5 years. Like we could start making some changes. I can answer your question. As for the decoration, the Christmas decoration. Okay, yes, get closer. The other one is the lights. So what's happening like for our operating budget? We do not have any funds to purchase new decorations, but I know like we are in discussion with Mrs. Julie Bélanger for the community life to have some kind of collaboration. So maybe like the first decorations that were purchased by the downtown corporation, and then like the town like made a few additions over the years. But yes, it's always nice, but we're always reviewing where we can install the decoration, because we have there's some areas in town we want to put some we can't, like there's not enough space, but we know like we're meeting on this matter for this week, so thank you. Councillor Paul Boudreau, yes, thank you. And for the revenues, so the apartment buildings, are they paying like the levy, or like because it's part of the downtown area, and no? So the apartments are considered residential, so we do not receive any BIA from them. But the new construction downtown, like just across from Dick City, so this one, because the first floor, like they're supposed to have like a business, like a restaurant. So this amount we should receive it. But what's additional, like for any housing unit, we do not receive anything from them. Essentially like commercial space. Thank you. I just wanted to say a special thank you to Mr. Miller Bryan, like to be out with our liaison. So it's really appreciated. And thank you like very much to take the time to listen to us this evening. I had one other question, Mrs. Deputy Mayor, and I apologize for being late. I just came to my mind. All the businesses, like as Paul named, all the businesses, are they all participating? Even those who do not have a sign, like on Main Street, I can think of a few ones, like so all the commercial space recognize this spaces like from Chesley Street to Saint Anne Street. So these are recognized as commercial, and it applies on their property tax they're receiving. So even if there's no sign or and the signs are okay. Thank you. Thanks for the clarification. Have a good evening.
En termes de prochain point, lecture de correspondance.
Next item, correspondence. We have no correspondence for this evening. And in terms 8, like standing and special committee report, we have like number 8.1, the financial report. So you should have seen it's presented essentially like every 3 months, like quarterly. Every month, okay. Oh, sorry, my mistake. He said, yeah, it's not. So if you have any question, so you were able like to vote for your information. If you don't have, it's still okay. In terms of policing services, it's not every month. And for fire department, we do have in front of you like the report from Fire Chief Donald and the Protection Officer, Joe Leblanc. So if you have any questions on this one, Councillor Roland Cormier. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's not a question on the report, but it's a question for the fire department. Maybe Donald might be able to answer.
Venir faire un tour.
Just come to the
Je
mic.
ne veux pas le voir venir faire un tour chez vous.
Usually, you do not want to see him at your house, but it's a question that was asked by a resident, and I did not have the answer. Well, I told you I know someone who might be able to help me answer your question. So the emergency plans for the department. I do not want to identify a specific place, like a nursing, especially for nursing home. I do not want to name because it doesn't matter. Like a nursing home in our municipality. So by law, they need to have a fire plan, right? Evacuation plan. And this fire plan is probably done by the owner or the manager of the installation. So you agree with that? So does the municipality via the fire department, do you see, are you being consulted for this fire plan, the fire department? Is it consulted and then saying this is my plan, and does it make sense or not? So do we have any jurisdiction that it has to be approved? And it has to be approved by the fire marshal, or it means our fire department does not have the power to or the authority to approve, right? So if the plan is implemented, we will follow it. I'm talking about fire practice or fire drills. So the owner does prepare the plans and he suggests his plan to the fire marshal, and the fire marshals can say yes or no. So do we have the authority or the power? I'm saying you, the fire department. So does the fire department has the authority to check if the fire plan was followed or was authorized, how to proceed in case of fire. But we want to have a strong plan before the fire happens. So does the department have any authority to check? I know you do not have the authority to accept it. So can we check if there's one that exists? So there's a department to visit all the nursing home to see if there's a plan. So you would have this power. So does it clarify? We'll go even farther, for fire drills. We go there often. I do not want to make it publicly, but let's say I think as a municipal council, I think we have to make sure it's you and not me. I just want to make sure all those installation have a plan, a good plan. Maybe it's not as it should be, but I will stop there. So I'm hoping that you might be looking into this, and maybe in a few months you would be able to come back to us to say, well, we went around all the nursing homes, and according to us, the fire department of the town of Shediac, we think their plan is good. Are good, and that would be okay. And maybe you can say we found any anomalies, and through the fire marshal we encourage them to do the things that should be done. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. So thank you, Mr. Fire Chief. Mr. Leger, if I may add, it's a jurisdiction for the fire marshal and not the municipality. So the municipality cannot impose a plan. So the fire marshal is responsible to ensure there is an emergency plan to have your occupancy permits. So So I just wanted to be clear, like the final decision does not belong to the municipality. And thank you, Mr. So the point I wanted to make was if someone would be able to check if the plan was done, and even if you do not have the power to change it, you certainly have the power to identify it, like to the fire, the fire marshal say like business X, we think there's a problem, and we encourage to check. Like if there's no problem, that's okay. And I'm always hoping there's no problem, just to mention it. So that was the goal of my intervention. Thank you very much.
Parfait. Donc,
Perfect. So, next item 9, our CEO report. So now.
Hein? Non, excusez-moi, je l'ai trouvé.
You said it went too fast.
Ça va mal. Ah, ouais. Mais en termes des permis de construction.
In terms of building permits, you have in front of you like the report for building permits by the end of August. I would put some notes for this one. And I know like the Director of Economic Development and Tourism, like he's at a conference, so he's not here this evening. So we're saying after 8 months, we're over like 73 millions worth of building permits, which is a good year. And last year we hit in 2023 105 millions. It was really an exceptional year. And you can see also like in the table, like with all like the so what we have compared to the previous year. So it's good. Like to me, it shows like the interest is still there, like to develop, and there is some there is demand, because the offer doesn't come without the demands, and vice versa. Councillor Paul Boudreau, questions on the building permits? Wanted to ask a question like for that report. If it's possible to get the information, maybe not on residential permit, but commercial building permits, like almost 28 million. Can we get this information, like the Department of Economic Development? So what are the big projects? Because people are asking like the projects behind those numbers. And there was no follow-up from my understood. I don't know why, because I remember like the former like CAO like answered, and after essentially the numbers you're seeing, it's what can be made public. You cannot make public like the name of the permit holder, like the municipalities cannot do that even after. So all we have, it's our numbers. And the other also information, well, we do not have the information that we can make public. So the developers, if they decide to do it, they can, but we cannot take the information for a third party and say we'll make it public because we know there was a permit. But if the developer wants to do it, he can 100% can do it. But if he asks us to do, we can do it. I was not aware, but the permit given by the Southeast Regional Service, and it's not the town of Shediac directly. Thank you. It clarifies, so it's good. Councillor Roland Cormier, just I want to build on what Councillor Boudreau said, but we can still, on the report, in 2023, we had some building permit for 105 millions, etc. So during the budget process, I know like they're still under construction, so they're not paying any taxes yet. But during the budget process, we'll really see like out of the 105 million, the level of taxation we will get in 2025, part of it. So it might be like, let's say like a few 25 million bill, but the province will come from the complete tax base, including like the houses and those in construction. But we'll still get like a confirmation from the department on the 105 millions. Let's say like 50 houses were built and they moved in. People let's say it's worth so much money. I know we will, in 2025, we will not have like a 105 million. I know it's not a 105 million, 105 million assessments, like at 1.5 billion we have.
Je sais pas de comment détaillé.
I'm not sure how detailed is the tax. I know our CEO is more experienced. Essentially, we get a number like from the total tax base. We do not get which percentage was from the previous year. We can see like the increase or reduction if there's one, like from one year to another. But the assessments, they're not controlled by the municipality. It's by Service NB. So Service NB, if there's a property last year that was a lot or vacant land that was assessed at $10,000 and was reassessed because there's a house assessed at $500,000. So this 490,000 is added to the total tax base. So it's not, cannot separate in the out of this 105 because some projects are at different places. And the amount for those permit value is not necessarily the value of the assessment. So it's not always as clear as this one, because long-term planning is the 105. In reality, like we only got 25, but we do not know. We know like there's still 75 that's be coming up soon. If I put my logic, if we cannot find it, we cannot find it. So if you do not have the numbers, you do not have them. So personally, I find it a little bit weird, but I'm not saying that Service NB is not weird. Councillor Jean-Claude Bertrand. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Eventually, like, do you think like the others around, like Pointe du Chêne and yes, those numbers are for the new. So it includes like all the Greater Shediac since 2023.
Parfait. Je crois que c'était une des fois qu'on avait le plus de questions sur le rapport des.
I think that's the time we got the most most question on the building permit. So Mr. CEO, your report, of course, it's 2 weeks where I did not relax too much over the last couple of weeks, but I would like to thank like the staff to help me and support me and guide me in the right direction. So when I had questions, so over the last couple of weeks, I was able to meet like the direction team that's a practice like the former like a CEO had to meet with all like the managers team like on a weekly basis. So we'll continue. And also I met with all the directors like individually to try to have like to know like where they were at, and a lot of files, a lot of follow-up. Thank you for your patience. I do not know everything. I know a lot of what's working, maybe not as much how this municipality is operating, but for meeting, I had the opportunity to meet the former CEO, so I discussed with them all the issues like the council discussed over the last year. And I also had a meeting with Ben Champoux, who is responsible for strategic planning, to help to give me like the direction that's or the development of a plan that's being done. And also I'm meeting the mayor on a weekly basis, like to share all the files like discussed by the council. So we have that knowledge transfer as a council and our direction. And also last week I had the opportunity like to attend the AGM for the municipal administrators of New Brunswick. It was a great training. We had the opportunity like to hear from to have a session with the new commissioner of local governance, Gisèle Gauguin. And also, there were many sessions that were great, like in terms of best practice and idea sharing and etc. And I had the opportunity to give a session to the group with the CEO of the city of Dieppe on the political acumen. If you don't know what it is, last week I could not even say the word in French. So political acumen. So it's a long word, like a political acumen, like how a council an administration can see things and interact with different stakeholders in their function. And I'm also very happy to get a professional training, like level 3 is the higher level for the association. And I think Mr. Mayor even got like a letter on this one. I might share or maybe shared it with you, but last couple of weeks, it was to know where we were at and where do I stir the boat in the direction as we're going as an administration. So the priority files, well, the preparation of the 2025 budget, we already started the discussion within the team. And to present to the council, I don't have a great handle of the financial situation of the municipality. I know like the finance director has things in hand, and if she has to redress everything with the directors, like she will do it. She did it in the past, and yes, she should do it. And we also had like the last part for the Canada Community Development Fund. So we'll have also like to develop a plan also. That's where we will focus. So the last meeting we had a discussion on the asset management plan. It will help also to develop this plan. But since we have a lot of projects and a lot of priority projects that might require like to have access to funds like to the municipal capital borrowing board, we will have to put our 5-year plan. And I think there were a lot of projects since the adoption of the plan. So we will have to really paint the right picture. So when you present the file at the borrowing board, but and also another file like we will. So I was welcome. I had a good welcome up to now, and I knock on doors, and people are really nice. So I'm still here today, so that looks good. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. CEO, and all our congratulations. So you deserve this designation, and it was when you arrived. So we did not do a lot, but it shows like your experience like in the municipal sector, and I'm sure it will be useful for the town of Shediac. Next item, 10. Recommendation from the Southeast Regional Service Commission. 10.1, we have the Ewaso subdivision. It's a public use line. Mr. Clerk, well, once again, it's a subdivision. I think you should have were able to read the documents. I just have to show exactly like it's on Gallagher Street. It's a line like 2401 that's being created. Instead of going like with the public utilities line and pay a certain amount of money down to Shediac, the recommendation we received for the Southeast Regional Service Commission. So we advise like the council to accept this request or this recommendation that was done made by Plan 360. I would only need a motion, and the resolution is in your package. So, Emil O'Brien.
Okay.
Il soit résolu que le conseil municipal
Therefore, be it resolved that the municipal council accept the recommendation of the staff of the Southeast Regional Service Commission to accept the amount of $3,844.30 for a monetary payment in lieu of setting a sideline for the creation of a lot creation of 24-01 on the Ewasiuk subdivision plan. I shall move. Moved by Councilor O'Brien, seconded by
Councilor Harry McEnroy.
Look.
Questions? Sinon, tous en faveur en diront oui.
Otherwise, all those in favor shall say aye. Contrary-minded, nay.
Adopté. Merci.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Des choses un peu ordinaires, nos agences.
One of the ordinary things, in terms of unfinished business, nothing on the agenda, but in terms of new business, 12.1, emergency exit, Cornwall Road. And this was brought forward by Councillor Peter Breau. It was at the last meeting. So, Councillor Breau, I will give you the opportunity. It's a point for discussion, but if you will describe what it was about. Thank you, Your Worship. As a councillor, one of the responsibilities to our citizens is it's to their safety. It's very important. If you look at Cornwall Road, it's a dead-end street. It's a cul-de-sac. So there's only one way to go in. There's only one way to come out. It's on Main. Over many years, there's been starting to be a lot of construction. A lot of apartment blocks have been erected up there. And often, some comments from people who are either for or against, there were worries. If ever there were to be an accident, either on Main Street or on the road itself, or a fire, for example, and the apartment blocks, people might remain stuck. There's no way of getting out. So there's a solution. It's a pretty simple solution, really. If you look, I have a photo to back this up.
C'était une des deux photos qu'on avait, là. Oui.
It was one of the photos that we had, yes. In the curve, about halfway on that street, there's an exit. I would imagine it was made by all-terrain vehicles. You can't really get a vehicle out through there. It's quite close to the highway. And I was having discussion with the fire chief. He found it was a good idea to have a second emergency exit so that you could bring in either fire trucks or ambulances or cars if need be. Now, I'm not talking about having this be a street. It should be an emergency exit with a barricade. It would be managed by the firefighters. And I hope that we never need to use that exit. But if ever the need should present itself, if there was an accident, for example, that would force people to depart in an emergency situation, it would be quite easy, according to the fire chief. They could manage this and open that gate. If ever someone had a heart attack, for example, and they had to be brought out in an emergency basis, even in the winter. Now, it would have to be, you'd need a barricade. It wouldn't be a designated street. I don't think transportation would allow us to have a street there. I'd like to mandate staff to take a look at this, to check with Department of Transportation if it is possible to undertake such a project, making sure that it's not a public exit, but that'd be an emergency exit, and I hope we'd never use it. But if ever it should be needed, it's very close. Might be 150 feet, 200 feet max. It wouldn't take much for a pipe, for gravel. You don't need to put any pave there. I don't know if you need a motion for that, Your Worship, or not as such. We can certainly refer the question
Jeez, ton micro
Well,
blink, but
your mic is blinking, but we can certainly refer the question, the option anyway. For a motion, we would need the text to present to the council. Luc, I don't know if it's something that your department has looked at before, or yes. Well, we shouldn't need a motion. We have already spoken to the department, transportation, for the possibility of putting access through there with a gate. I don't. Is it something is that the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure allows? The people we spoke to said yes, go above them. It needs a highway access permit. So we're still waiting on the answer on that one. But it's certainly on our radar. We've spoken with the Department of Transportation. It will also be included in the master plan, the transportation master plan. And so it's it's being developed right now, just to make that clear. Thank you. They're quicker than you thought, Councillor Bro. That's great. Well, can at least be able to know if it's a doable thing. Then that it'd be legal. Councillor Renard Cormier, thank you, Your Worship. Congratulations, Councillor Bro. It's a problem that could be solved, probably. It shouldn't cost very much, all the better. If we can help the citizens on that end, all the better. There is a provincial election coming up. Could be a change of government. We might have better or not as good friends on the other side to facilitate access. It also depends what the provincial laws can say and what you can't do. Can and can't do. Sometimes there's discretion, but I don't think the ministers have discretion. It might be. So congratulations. Thank you, Councillor Bro. 12.2, use of all-terrain vehicles, ATVs. Mr. Clerk, there's no information that we can convey to you, actually. Citizens have approached us, and they all want to remain anonymous. They don't want to be identified. We received many complaints lately in terms of the use of ATVs in parts of town, in certain parts of town. They're being used at night. It's very loud, high speeds. I do think it's important to raise it with you. One of the citizens in the area around Munich and La Forêt says that the kids are woken up sometimes at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and midnight because people are really going by fast behind houses in the street. It becomes a problem. He was really calling it the question, the bylaw that we have in terms of the town of Shediac around this. Another citizen sent us something. It was more, I'd say, close to the exchanger Christian Court, for example. Said that right there. It's often that at night you hear a lot of noise, people passing by. It wakes up everybody. It's becoming an issue. I know that the RCMP has already said that awareness raising is important, but I think that we have to continue looking to, well, without changing the bylaws and finding a way to raise awareness among people. What we can do as staff, what we have put forward as an idea was to approach Quad and B, the provincial organization, and the local ATV clubs as well, have discussions with them to just try to raise some public awareness around this question. But I did find it important to mention it to the council. We have had citizen complaints. We have received them. As the councillors around the table know, the bylaw that allows the circulation of ATVs on some streets does not include the streets that the Mr. Clerk is speaking of. But they have ATVs on our streets before we had adopted the bylaw. And since and the bylaw, well, its objective, it wasn't necessarily to allow the circulation the passage of the population wherever they are. That was not the intention. It was to allow ATVers outside coming through to come into the community and municipality at certain places to fuel up, for example, or to go to a restaurant or Hotel Shediac. That was rather successful. Some good things came out of that. We've seen it. But it was not to say, go wherever you want. That's the situation that we're finding a bit more lately. Any questions? Councillor Janice Cormier. Thank you, Your Worship. What committee had discussed the bylaw around ATVs? It was many years ago. Chamber of Commerce? They had initiated at the time, yes. It's been over a year that we have the bylaw. I think that we should do a study, a deeper study, to see that it's really improved, if it's really yielded more business to people in town. And I think it's time to revisit it, perhaps. There might be other things that we can add to the bylaw that would reduce the worries of our citizens. I do believe that it would time to form a little committee. Is it still good sense to still make good common sense? Could we add something? Has it really brought in a lot more people into town? Is it worth it? If it's only brought in 30-odd people over every 2 or 3 months, is it really worth it to have the access? I don't say that we should eliminate the bylaw, but we should study this in a deeper way. It would be interesting to see what the economic results have been. And that's what I'd like to do. Thank you for your comments. Mr. McGraw, I saw that you did you want you can just some information? This is just for your information. The recreation team, in collaboration with operations, have installed large rocks at that access point at Highway 13 at the end, 15 rather, at the end of Sackville Street. There's no more ATVs or side-by-sides that can pass there. I just wanted to mention that, just for your information. Thank you. Madam Deputy Mayor, Sylvie Colette-Boudreau, thank you. I know that it's an issue, all of these ATVs. I don't think that we should mess with the ATVs that allow ATVs on the street that brings business, and the ATVs that are traveling at night. The ATVs traveling at night, I would presume that they don't have a permit. The importance that the CAO, Victor Boudreau, suggested to me at the time, and the RCMP had said it too. Try to see where they live, where those people live. At midnight, maybe you can't. It might just be other people in their houses. I won't presume necessarily they're young or older. They go over those rocks. It's not everybody that's 45 years with 3 kids at home that's driving over rocks. That's what I can presume. I'm not saying people that go crazy at our age, but it's not side by sides. It's the 4 loud four-wheelers. It's dangerous. There's a man who wrote to us. He's worried for the young people who will kill themselves, because this year in the province of New Brunswick, there's at least been, I'd say, 8 more deaths due to ATVs or on ATVs. It's speed, it's inexperience, a lack of attention, 2 or 3 people on a vehicle. Let's not get confused here. I appreciate what you're saying, Janice. I see the municipality, they come fuel up. It's important for them. It's not Mr. and Madame, everybody, to come fuel up and go to the restaurant. I'm a bit biased because I don't have an ATV anymore. I just say I see the people passing. They're very respectful. And there I see some that are not respectful. it's the same type of people who do graffiti. Those are my own 2 cents. Thank you. I remember I met that man and had a good discussion with him. Yes, there's people who lack respect, crazy people. It's hard to catch them all. But we had a discussion with the former CAO who was here at the time. Councillor Paul Boudreau. Yes, there's challenges with speed. We put in radar control. With the vandalism, we put in cameras. Might we explore putting in cameras at strategic places to identify who they are? I know it's not easy with all the helmets and it's dark. Could we at least put some in where people have identified issues around access and speed? I have some at home, and I'm far from the ATV trail. It's something that the municipality could study if it's working in other communities. We could take a look at that, yes. That's just my own 2 cents there. Madame Bélanger, I know that I ignored your button there. It's just to add to look. I'm the designer, I'm a graphic designer. We're doing some signs to say that ATVs can't travel on certain streets, especially in the southern part of the municipality, and also some signage on the trails that say that ATVs can't go there, and to show where the proper access points are. That's great. So it won't we won't solve this tomorrow, but we can raise some awareness and try to do better on that front and develop some things. Number 13, inquiries by members of council. If you have any questions for anything that was not on the agenda, now is the moment. Councillor Janice Cormier. Thank you, Your Worship. A citizen raised something. It was he's a citizen with limited vision. For our crosswalks, there's no sound that happens once they hit the button to cross. They don't know if the lights are on or not. They're of limited vision. We know that, I know last year we had a sound that it would make when the lights were on. But now, many people have noticed that there's no more sound. You hit it, and is this something we could look into? Or is it something that we removed? I think it's something, honestly, I'm not sure what the answer is, but we'll certainly check into that. We'll see what the standards are. If it needs to be a sound, it's not accessible. People walking with canes or with limited vision. Thank you. There's a counselor next to me who asked me the crosswalk next to Home Hardware. Next to Home Hardware, from the Home Hardware to the ice cream place. When you hit it, it doesn't make a sound to say that it's been triggered. It's broken.
I guess on that note, just so vous saviez tout,
I guess you know it. There's a counselor, I can't remember who it was, I'm sorry, who had asked to add lights to the crosswalk. They're coming, they're on the way. I think they're showing up next week, in 2 or 3 weeks. The horizontal ones, yes. The crosswalks where there's parking, you have a hard time seeing if the person is there. Put on some horizontal lights lower. It's where the driver can see it. Oh, thank you very much. That makes me very happy. That was my point. I had asked at the last meeting, I do believe, I'd asked the CAO this. Have we bought a defibrillator for the town hall? Inaudible. Yes. Will we have one on the first floor? Yes, there's one on each floor. They've been installed in the kitchen last week on the 3rd floor. On the 2nd floor, same situation as well. And on the 1st floor, here? In the library. And that's my problem. The library is locked. Okay. It shouldn't be locked, unfortunately. We have citizens who come to the meetings. Thank you very much. Okay. Next point, Councillor O'Brien. Thank you, Your Worship. I have 3 points to raise. The first one is related to the multi-sport surface. The facilities are completed. There are already many sports activities happening, and I'd like to congratulate the Director of Community Affairs on that for her work. Your Worship, we must not forget that the multi-sport uses saw the light of day with the position of volunteers. They raised funds. They sought sponsorship. They lobbied our provincial MLA, and they managed to contribute about $500,000 to the construction of the multi-sport surface. With the official permission of the town, there was a showcase, a promotional showcase that was installed, and it's related to some sports highlights related to the multi-sport surface. During recent works, a member of that volunteer team showed up and saw that the showcase had been removed from the wall and put on the ground, and nearly completely destroyed, actually. So, Your Worship, with the help of the clerk, we have prepared a motion to this effect to ask the members of the council to decide by vote either yes or no to recover and to reinstall that showcase on a wall in one of the rooms of the building, and the motion is under 15.4 of this agenda. We'll see it in just a bit. And that's the point I wanted to raise. I just wanted to say that in case I don't have a seconder for the motion. I just wanted to say it anyway. I'll allow that. Not entirely a question, but at any rate. Second point that I want to raise, it's related to community life department. In your report at the last meeting, you said that there was an assessment of the design and consultation costs for architecture with a receipt. Does that mean that it will be ready for our budget session? It will be ready? Yes? Do you have more details on that? The consultant plans, the architectural plans for the shed. The tennis shed. I'm talking about the shed. I just want to make sure I have a proper understood. You'd like to receive the plans to get more information to see where things are at, and encourage the tennis club. We've received estimates to do some budgeting in terms of architectural elements. The plans have to be architectural plans so that we can give them to the builder. And we've received some prices from a construction firm to help us with the budget. We haven't gone to tender because the budgets have not yet been approved. Okay. They know what is foreseeable. You're answering my question. Thank you. And the third item I want to raise, it's related to minor hockey. To register a young person into minor hockey, it costs $700 to register, another $104 for provincial tryouts. My question is, it's not a complaint. I'm just curious to know who decides on these prices. Who decides the registration price? Who decides that? It's the Minor Hockey Association that decides how much it costs to register. Yes, that's why I was asking the question. Okay, that's fine. You've answered my question. Yes, my question's answered. Great. Yes? For us, the only moment we become involved is when we send the rental fee for young people, where it's for organizations where it's for young people, where it's for developing the athlete or the child, there's a reduced price for rental. So I just want to add that. Perfect. Great.
Conseiller Paul Boudreau.
Councillor Paul Boudreau.
Demande de renseignement.
Three requests for inquiries. The canteen at the arena in the contract. What's the strategy? Right now, with the help of our Chamber of Commerce liaison with for the downtown internally, I brought forward our problem, and if you have any businesses that are interested or organizations that are interested in taking up the canteen,
Il cherche de l'aide.
they're looking for help. Second point, there's an activity yesterday morning. I'd like to congratulate the director. It was the Grand Fondo. It's a really great town activity. His worship was there. Thank you. Congratulations, Julie, and your organizing team. The town is supporting it. I'd like to have a sense of what the council thinks of this. Our former CAO, our former LGR graduate, and our former MLA, he named the Senate. I don't know the date. It's tomorrow. Oh my! Tomorrow at 3 o'clock, Atlantic time. Is there some representation from Shediac? It's already this early. Wow! I would have liked to have seen. We didn't have the date per se. It was hard on that front. We will be placing on social media a word of congratulations tomorrow once it's done. Yes, indeed. We didn't necessarily have the date, the precise date, just in terms of where it would be. So it's a bit hard to send people. I think that's your idea. It's not something you see every day. Well, we'll do the best that we can to highlight his nomination and swearing in tomorrow. Do you know what the time it's happening? Well, yes, we could. It'd be good to say it's public. I would imagine it's available over internet. Okay. That's all for me. Thank you. Councillor Roland Cormier. Thank you, Your Worship. Julie, your presentation 2 weeks ago was rather exhaustive. Inaudible. There was a lot on the bone. There was a lot of meat on the bone. There were big spare ribs. Inaudible. But there's something that you said that tickled my curiosity. Piqued my curiosity. Since I've been at the council, we're always saying that the government council, the federal government, they participate, and the town of Shediac has participated in that project. It's the sports project, not the arena. The multi-sport center. It should be mentioned that there are sponsors. Maybe I misunderstood. You mentioned that we might not have collected all of that money yet. Then you don't need to answer this tonight. Maybe you can do it by email. Could we know how many commitments that we have? Like real ones? I was surprised that we hadn't yet received the money. If we don't have that money, it would be an additional cost in terms of municipality. These are not things that were budgeted. It would be nice to see this. No? Well, basically, the sponsors, their sponsorship will help for past costs. What was in the past, it'll help with you'd be better at answering this question than me, Carol. But in terms of where we're at, in terms of that, with the change of staff, that we've experienced also with the slowdowns in construction, the assessments that the municipality had to proceed to in terms of what we're going to do with the surface, and next, what we were still doing with the surface at another point. All those times where we didn't have any programming, it really slowed down a lot. And then we said, well, are we going to approach sponsors? It wasn't at the moment. There was still some more construction to do to improve the state of the surface and its service life and safety. Now we're at a point where we can almost say, well, we're seeing the end of all this. Next year we'll have some programming. Then it'd be time to communicate with sponsors. We can't communicate with sponsors if there's nothing going on. And we're still in the building phase when it's been what 4 years that we're in the construction phase. Weren't there activities this summer? People are talking about activities happening. There was some programming. There was one bit of programming there. We didn't know where we were going to be headed. There was a need. We slowed it down for more construction. We're still under construction to this day, but the end is coming. My question, Your Worship, is how much money was collected, was committed by the sponsors from this region? How much? And how much have we received of that amount? Maybe we've already paid all the expenses, but this is money that people said they would provide. Yes, there are many reasons why we're not quite done, but we're almost done. There's my question, Your Worship. We could get those figures together. Carole? Yes? Madam Finance Director. The detail, the amount, it was $278,500 to be received, and the balance to be received is $145,600. So we go from 278,000, and there's still remaining 145,000 that is owing. So do the math, and you'll see the difference. So after we finish the financial cycle, I imagine we're seeking out the 145,000. Once we're done the financial year, can we get a report on that? If we really manage to bring it in, we received about 133,000. That's what has come in. If my quick math is correct. Councillor Patricia Bourque-Chevary. Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to ask the question again. Do we have a date where we will be sharing the report? For Quai des Pèlerins, the in-camera session that we will have, we can't ask for an in-camera session, just a special meeting. The members of the council, at any point during any meeting, can ask to go in camera on a point for which we can legally go in camera. I think there's 14 or 16 different categories, but we usually plan an in-camera session. We don't want to ask people to leave the room, but do you want to change the motion? In discussions with the staff team, the CAO, and the clerk, we were heading towards October 7th, but we would cancel our regular meeting on that night to do an in-camera meeting. We need the lawyer. The lawyer needs to be available, and the topic would be covered that evening, as well as one or two others. Thank you. Great. Is there something you want to add to that? And related to Janice's questions just now about the defibrillators, I just want to make it clear that when I started here 5 years ago, we had one defibrillator at the town of Shediac. And I found that wasn't not correct at all. Today, right now, we have 7. They're all throughout town, thanks to the help of the safety committee, Julie, all of the members. We have 4 in this building. There is, they're not, they haven't finalized, how do you say it, the final location. 2 are under construction. Mireille is working on finding a good strategic spot for each of the units. We have 1 at the arena. It's almost brand new. There's 1 at the operations center that's new. I think there's 1 for the whole fleet. It's portable for during events. We travel with it everywhere. I just wanted to give you an update on that. I know that there were some questions on that. Thank you. Councillor Jean Cormier. Thank you for mentioning the arena. It's good that we have it in all the municipal buildings. It's so very important just to make it easy to have access to them at those critical moments. Again, we hope not to use that, right?
Donc, on n'avait pas de... Ça fait des demandes de renseignements.
So we've done inquiries by members of councils. There's no bylaws to be introduced, but there are some motions. So 15.1, 2025 budget for Centre-Ville Shediac downtown. They've presented the budget. This is basically to trigger a process. So I would need someone to read the motion. Councillor Joël Després. 15.1, budget 2025, Centre-Ville Shediac Downtown Incorporated 2025 budget. Considering that the municipal council received the proposed operating budget for 2025 from Centre-Ville Shediac Downtown Inc. for approval, therefore be it resolved that the clerk, in the name and on behalf of council, be responsible for publishing within the time prescribed by section 4.2 of the Business Improvement Areas Act, public notice of the adoption of such bylaw, and that the deadline for receiving written objections to the budget be set for October 7th, 2024. I so move. Moved by Councillor Joël Després, seconded by Councillor Emile O'Brien. Any questions on this motion? Otherwise, all those in favor shall say aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Thank you. Number 15.2. It's basically following the fact that our colleague, Councillor Murray Lloyd, passed away. We now have to declare his seat vacant to officially share this. Basically, we have to officially share this with Election New Brunswick so that they can add them to the list for by-elections. It would be meant to happen at start of December. They would just start starting in that'll be in October. Councillor O'Brien. Thank you, Your Worship. Vacant seat, Shediac Cape. Whereas Ward 3 Shediac Cape Councillor Murray Lloyd passed away on August 14th, 2024, therefore be it resolved that the Municipal Council declares a vacancy in the office of Councillor for Ward 3 of the town of Shediac and instructs the clerk to send a certified copy of this resolution to the Chief Executive Officer of Elections New Brunswick. I so move, Your Worship. Moved by Councillor Jean Cormier, seconded by Councillor Germaine Galland. All those in favor shall say aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Thank you very much. So that will trigger the election to have that region represented in the municipality. So in terms of 15.3, Municipal Council meeting schedule. Did you want to give us a brief note on that, Mr. Clerk? The procedural bylaw has still not been accepted. We haven't had a chance to amend it, but of course we need to change the meeting schedule for fall. The only change we made to the motion in front of you is that the package that we exchanged on Friday was mentioning October 7th, but we removed this October 7th to allow to have an in-camera session for some legal advice. The only change in there is We're going to remove October 7th. We're going to keep October 21st, the November 4th, and 18th November, and December 2nd, and December 16th. Those will be the dates of the last meetings of the year that will allow us to update the procedural bylaws that has been, how might I put it? It's not necessarily tabled, but set aside perhaps during the meeting of June 17th. Do you have any questions? I would need a motion. Madam Deputy Mayor, Municipal Council meeting schedule. Whereas the procedural bylaw of the Municipal Council of the Town of Shediac number 23-03 is to be used to establish the conduct of council meetings, whereas the bylaws of the procedural bylaw of the Council of the Town of Shediac, number 23-03, may be suspended by a unanimous vote of the members of council present. Therefore, be it resolved that the plenary meetings of October 7th, November 4th, and November 2nd be cancelled. Be it also resolved that the regular meeting schedule be amended to include meetings on October 21, November 4th, November 18th, and December 2nd and December 16th, 2024, starting at 6 p.m. instead of 7 p.m. I so move. Moved by Deputy Mayor Sylvie Boudreau, seconded by Councillor Paul Boudreau. Thank you. Any questions? Councillor Paul Boudreau. Sylvain, do we have one less meeting with all this? No. Given the way that the schedule is determined this year, and that the way December falls, we have an extra meeting in December this year, because December 16th is a bit further than the 24th. So normally we would end earlier. It doesn't make a difference in the number of meetings, and let's not forget that we can add special meetings if we need to. We already spoken that the plate is full, but this autumn there's consultants' reports and strategic plans and the multi-use center and in-camera sessions and the budget. Well, the budgets are not usually part. Those are special meetings that we schedule. Last year we had 2, and this year we will see. So we're not cutting the number of meetings. Great. Thank you. Councillor Jeunesse Cormier. Speaking of the budget meetings, could we start to put some tentative dates down for those budget meetings? I know that we need money to come in, but can we at least have some tentative, maybe in 2 weeks? We're trying. I don't know if we spoke to this during the September 3rd meeting. The municipal portal will only be available October 31st. Last year, it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks before. So we're 2 to 3 weeks backwards, behind. It'll be November. There's no choice. Yes, we can do it as early as possible once we have more details. We've already started to work on our end, but the provincial information will not be received until 30th or 31st of October. It's more a question of reserving some dates so that we can set aside. It's a good point. There might be a couple of dates in November that we can meet. Indeed, yes. Agreed. Mr. CAO, this is obviously something that we've discussed and that we will discuss with the staff team to set a calendar for the budget, for establishing the budget. The Local Governance Act sets out that the budget must be adopted either November 15th or 30 days after we receive the figures from the province, whichever is later, if you'll allow. So we're waiting on those figures from the province to be able to present a budget. Could we start to present figures? Yes. With any changes to be made, our estimates might not be as accurate. It was a formula that was often used in the past. It created some issues in terms of budget deficits along the way. We'd rather have everything updated properly with the right figures so that you can make decisions, the best educated decisions around the best figures. But we can put some placeholders. We'll present something in the weeks to come. Thank you.
Councilor Boudreau?
Councillor Paul Boudreau. In terms of the budget, I know that since the municipal reform and the amalgamation, I've always been told that the budget is the council members. The council decides on the budget. That being said, some years we thought about reducing tax. There were new zones. It was rather complicated. When the council didn't have a word to say before staff, it was an objective of 5%. And then we came to the budget exercise. We're there to cut and cut. We were cutting and cutting. I know in some municipalities gives a clear directive to the staff. Listen, we need to have a balanced budget by law. The council would decide to explore and have a budget to reduce the tax rate. I'd like to be able to discuss it before without having all the figures and without doing all the work. I've worked on about 30 budgets in town to at least give a sense of a directive in terms of what the directive of the council is. We end up in the budget, we present the figures, they know 80% of the budget. We know that 80% of it's not negotiable. If we have some word on this before, I'm not sure what the feeling of if the council is in favor of this. Based on my experience, the years we showed up, no, we can't bring it down. The staff said, and the council is there to rubber stamp it. It's very important. It's the most important decision that the council makes is adopting the budget. I don't know, Madam Eve, what do you think of all this, Councillor Boudreau?
It's something like the last two budgets, but the last one, like the one 2023, was not the council who decided it. It's a province. It was just to be like the transition for the reform. It's something I discussed and I mentioned to the former CAO before he took his other function, and with our finance director, and now with the new CAO, and also with our former CAO by interim. The council needs to have like a presentation, a consultation to see what is the financial situation of the town, the municipalities. How is the municipalities' wallet? To say, well, long term, like we cannot be like forecast 5 years in advance, but so how is it, are we in a good financial position for the next years or no? It will indicate some kind of conditions, like there's lots of money in the future. Well, yes, you might be looking at a reduction of the taxes, but in the next few years, like what we're collecting today, like it will not be enough. Like it's a different picture. We need to have those discussions. We need so the administration gives us an indication and numbers. And we had our new CEO for 2 weeks, but he said like I do not have the exact pulse, but it will come. And I would like to know, like we could even have like a presentation. Maybe it could be at the beginning of the budget process, like sooner than later. Because last year we accepted a budget that went from 16 to 22 millions within 2 or 3 hours. At least if we could have it like just to have like it's difficult to say before we get the tax base, we'll say how much more revenue we will have next year, because the province confirms us. At least like it could be the first step. So with the municipality, they give the direction to it's what the council wants, and then they say, well, we can't. Is it it's the rest of the province, and yes, you could say like the council adopts the budget and it's part of their responsibilities. I would even say more important, the council has to decide on priorities, where they want to invest, which projects they want to put forward. Is to make difficult decisions. And it's not always easy when you are a municipality who is growing. And I would say, Shediac, since my arrival, I see you have a lot of projects. You are in the growth, a lot of projects that you might need to do some maintenance on infrastructure, but it's your duty to focus on priorities. And us as an administration, we have to align the budget with your priorities. So it means some difficult decision will be made, but we have to look like over the last few years, like there were a lot of we had a lot of inflation and because of inflation, like some project costs more. And I'm saying like a pen would cost less 10 years ago than today. So the same goes with the decision we have to take. So we'll do our best to guide you to take this decision, but also the council have to look into making sure the decision you're taking are aligned with your priorities. So the strategic plan consulted the people, and people said like what they would like to see as a town, short and long term. Now we have to react, and the budget reflects this. Thank you. That's all I wanted to know. And Mr. Clerk, so the last thing I wanted to say, yes, we like an interim, like Daniel, since Victor Boudreau left, but the work already started. Like our CAO is already working on it, and so the direction. So we heard you, and we're also hearing the concern of our citizens. So what we're trying to find is the best possible solutions, and we are already working on possible scenarios and options that would be presented to the council. So that's what we're trying to see. Our financial director is crunching the numbers, so it's in preparation, and it's welcome as a request, no problem, and we're already working on this. So the last point, as the clerk, we're talking about the schedule of the municipal, and now we're in the budget. So it's good. It's all good. So yes.
Merci.
Thank you. It's a good way, like to less meeting, lower cost. So on this one, all in favor, saying aye. Against nay. It's been carried. Thank you very much. 15.4, like it's the signage at the multi-sport surface. So our councillor Emile O'Brien. So I will let him read. You already added like the background. Unless you add no, I'm good. Thank you. Whereas a promotional display case has been installed on a wall in one of the rooms of the building near the multi-sport surface, highlighting the achievements related to sports relevant to the multi-sport surface. Whereas this promotional item was officially approved by the town of Shediac's Community Life Department at the time. Whereas this item highlights the community's pride. Therefore, be it resolved that this promotional display case be recovered in whole or in part, and that it be used by the municipality to highlight the contributors to the town of Shediac sports sector in the multi-sport surface building. I shall move, Mr. Mayor. Moved by Councillor Emile O'Brien, seconded by Jean-Claude Bertin. Questions on the motion? Councillor Roland Cormier. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I certainly support the motion, but I would like to add, like maybe to add some meat on the bone. It would be an amendment after like the building of the multi-surface sports surface, and that we consult with the committee to get their ideas on this display box. When I'm talking about the committee, it's the former committee: Roger Galland, Raymond Cormier, Eugene Bridges, Omer. I know Omer left, and I was informed that Patricia was on this committee, and Germaine and Paul Boudreau. I think we have to bring it back. If not, I was not aware.
Parce que ce comité-là était
because this committee was not a municipal committee. And it's a committee, like when they say, like when we had meeting, like those three councillors were there. I wasn't there. So this is my motion. So this is my motion. And the goal of this is because we've been we had a lot of challenges, like the surface was not okay, and they did some studies. It's not because it drags, it when no leadership, it just dragged because it dragged. Now we're close to it's practically over, and so the individuals were involved with the project. I think they should have a say, and as a council, we should let them talk. So that's why I'm adding this, like so for finally once and for all, like we put those people together, and they can decide like what they really want to do with this display box and what they want to do. And those people will decide. I'm certainly ready, like to accept their decision, because they got like 278,200. There were a lot of efforts and put to look at the community for this one. Just so it makes sense, like so that I understand properly. You wanted to add, like, what were the words you wanted to add? And that we consult, be it resolved, and that we consult with the committee to get their ideas for this display box. So the committee I mentioned. So we gather us those people to get those ideas, to decide like what we will do with this display. Because Councillor O'Brien, the reason I'm asking the question, if you allow me, is Councillor Cormier. So the motion for Councillor O'Brien is specific. Essentially, like to put the display that was there, or the part, is it only one part available? If it's to put this display back there. I have a hard time following you. Like the display where? On the building. Where? Like in the, is it the room 1, 2, 3, or the bathroom? I don't know. So you were saying it's not clear. In terms of, it's not as clear as you thought it would be. So the part, what should be put there is clear. Where it will be located. So that's what you would like to get more specification for the exact location. I wouldn't want, the reason I'm bringing this, I wouldn't even the responsibility like to our employees to do say. Our employees go there, they decide it's in the wall, and all the people we got, like we're able to fundraise $200,000 just for common sense. Let's meet those individuals with the committee that fundraise the money and say, what do you think? Where should we install this display? I agree with Mr. O'Brien. Councillor Cormier just... I just wanted to know, like in terms of amendment, is it something that would be can be received with the clarification? Yes, it seems like and I have to make that call. I have an amendment, and I think you got the...
OK.
Yeah.
Le texte que tu voulais, là. C'est pas 3 paragraphes de long.
It's not 3 paragraphs long, so.
À donner plus de contexte. Donc, sur l'amendement qui est proposé par
on the amendment proposed by Roland Cormier, I need a seconder. Councillor Paul Boudreau.
Sur l'amendement,
on the amendment. Any questions on the amendment only? We're not voting on the main motion, only on the amendment. Questions on the amendment. Councillor Emile O'Brien. I appreciate like what Councillor Cormier said, but the thing is, what they want to do, it could be like a waste of time. It will just like delay, like when we install the display, like the delay is installed in one of the dressing room. It's not complicated. Now let me finish. Yeah, when I talk, I don't interrupt you. So I do not see like any sense of doing this because it was done. It's the president of the committee. They approached me like for this display that was installed by them, but it was turned down by the towns. That's why I'm saying like the town should reinstall them. Certainly, you can ask a question. Is it a question on the amendment? Councillor Cormier? Roland Cormier? Councillor Janice Cormier, was it a question on the amendment? Because you pressed for a while. Councillor Roland Cormier. Because after I won't take any questions, you can tell me. In your motion, where the display will be installed, I will say. So the motion is already on the table. The main motion is on the table, and the answer would be in the text. It's not there. So.
On me dit qu'il y a 3 salles.
Was told that there are like 3 rooms and bathrooms. So where will it be installed? In one of the dressing room.
Okay.
So this is a condition. So I still have an amendment on the table. So
sur l'amendement qui est
on the amendment, essentially like
exact, mais c'est pour demander à ce
is to ask this committee to look at this thing and consult for the location. They do not specify like the location where it would be on the wall of those building, of course. Like
so sur l'amendement.
On the amendment only.
Tous en faveur, on dira oui.
All in favor, saying aye.
Contre, non.
Against, nay.
C'était proche.
Was close.
Mais moi, j'ai entendu 3 voix.
I heard 3 voices. So I will ask you like to raise your hand. All in favor, say raise your hand. Counting. On the amendment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the yes, so the amendment will be added to the main motion. And who seconded? Councillor Paul Boudreau.
Proposé par Roland Cormier, appuyé de Paul Boudreau.
Moved by Roland Cormier, seconded by Paul Boudreau.
Question sur la proposition modifiée.
Questions on the modified motion. Janice Cormier, thank you. I have a little twist in this one. I completely agree. Like we would certainly highlight that those who did the work. I agree 100%. Like a display inside the building, I'm a little bit hesitant, and I'll tell you why. Before, it's great to have like a display in the building, but it's not really promoting like the builders, because it's not everyone going in the building. It's not everyone using the restroom. And I think in the presentation that Julie did 2 weeks ago, I think our direction, they want to prepare something outside that would show what was in the display, and everyone would see it, would have access, all the citizens, not only like people who use this. That's why I'm a little bit hesitant. I think we should give our recreation director, like she work on this, and she already has some ideas I'm kind of hesitant. Like, yes, we have, but I'm not sure if the display is the right way of maybe showcasing those people to have a nice sign that showing like what they did. And then they would show like the achievement of those individuals. So it would be there like a concrete, everyone would see them. Not only the people like playing ball hockey. I think it would be more like community. And I think that's where it should be more like community focused than in a building, than between four walls. So, in my opinion, I will not support this motion because I think it's not the space, but it's very important, and I think we should give the chance to our director to give her opinion. And I think she has some idea to see how we can professionally to see what those people did. This is my point.
Je vais juste réitérer, oui, c'était ça que un peu Madame la directrice de vie communautaire.
So yes, that's what I wanted our community life director, like to mention it in her report, like to do something to recognize like the builders or the people who initiated the project. It's something she mentioned. Two people, so on the amendment, on the modified motion, Councillor Roland-Cormier. I do not disagree. I think there's two subjects. We're talking about the display we removed that we will put back. Do we want to, it's not the same thing, like in my opinion. We're talking about a display we remove and we want to put it back. Is it a good idea to recognize our pioneers and build? Absolutely. I do not disagree, but if we accept the motion, I'm convinced like the director will be part of this discussion with all the other members I mentioned. I will certainly support this motion. Councillor Emile O'Brien, thank you, Mr. May. Just an addition, like we have to keep in mind, like this committee of volunteers, like they're starting this. It's not naming anyone, as you were saying. It's just accomplishment, like in sports and things like they won. They were like it goes back like 25 years. It's something that was valuable for this committee, and more or less for them. But we will vote, and that's why I brought it to the council this evening. So for the council members to decide, and the council will decide.
All right. Councillor Patricia Bourg-Chevary.
Councillor Patricia Bourg-Chevary, so maybe it's more a question like for Julie. So when you presented to have something in the park, in my mind, like that's something we have at the multi-purpose center. Is it something with pictures, or I know you're not there yet, like is it something visual, or I'm not an expert, and I will not do it. It will be like an expert like doing this. So yes, there will be a visual, and I cannot only your question. That will be it.
Okay, moi je suis un petit peu d'accord avec Roland.
I agree with Roland. It's not the same thing. Thank you.
Moi, j'ai une question bien banale.
I have a really question like the display.
Est-ce que les gens l'ont vu?
Did the people see it? I don't know, but did.
Ah ouais. Ben, j'ai eu conseil Joël Després avant.
Conseil Joël Després.
Non, juste pour dire.
Just to say yes. Judy, why was it removed? Like, was there a specific region?
C'était pour construire les salles de bain.
It was to build the bathroom. It was the best area to build a washroom, like to have access to a water and sewer. Plumbing reasons.
Madame la maire suppléante.
Mrs. Deputy Mayor. So answers my questions. I never understand. And I think there's really the two subjects. We have a motion like to put back the display with or without the committee. It will be with the committee. The other thing, well, is we should not ignore what Judy will be working out. I appreciate what Janice told me, but we should not ignore what will be done because those people have been waiting for a long time for many reasons. Like to wait for something that's already there. Is it broken? I don't know. Like yeah, in my opinion, we should go forward with that.
Donc, sur ce,
on this note, I would ask to raise your hand because I know there was a bit of division. So all in favor, raise your hand.
C'est adopté.
It's been carried.
Merci bien.
Thank you very much.
15.5.
15.5. It's a nomination for appointment banking motion. So, Mr. Clerk, could you explain? Yes. Following like after Victor Boudreau left, our former CEO, we have to replace Mr. Boudreau on the individual who can sign the checks for the town of Shediac. And with the arrival of Yves Léger, well, of course, he has to be included in that list in those same documents. So it's simply like to make those modifications. So that's pretty much it.
Permet de signer des chèques.
Yeah, to sign checks. You can. I need a motion. Councillor Joël Després. 15 for appointment banking motion. Whereas the Shediac Municipal Council must designate the persons having the authority to sign checks and other banking documents in the name and on behalf of the town of Shediac. Whereas following the appointment of the Chief Administrative Officer, Yves Léger, it is necessary to make changes to the signing authority for the town of Shediac. Therefore, be it resolved that Mayor Roger Casey, Deputy Mayor Sylvie Colette Boutreau, CAO Yves Léger, Director of Finance Carole Lanneville, and the Assistant Director of Finance Lise Cormier be authorized to sign checks and other banking documents in the name and on behalf of the town of Shediac. I shall move. Moved by Councillor Joël Després, seconded by Councillor Joël Boudreau. All in favor, saying aye. Against nay. Motion carried. Thank you. 15.6. New Brunswick Municipal Finance Corporation debenture. Maybe just a bit of background on this one. So we can go in debenture like twice a year in March and now. So this section was not ready in March to give you the numbers in March. So this is the only project we could go in debenture it's concerning the Trail on Ohio, so it goes back. So I was not sure enough what we had in the book. Say yes, we go ahead, we're going ahead. Now I'm sure. So that's why we have the resolution to go in debenture. Councillor Janice Cormier, thank you, Mr. I really like everyone we're taking their turn. We look at the lights. New Brunswick Municipal Finance Corporation debenture. Be it resolved that the clerk, the treasurer, and the mayor be authorized to issue and sell to the New Brunswick Municipal Finance Corporation a 700,000 debenture from the town of Shediac, according to the conditions stipulated by New Brunswick Municipal Finance Corporation, and be it resolved that the municipality of Shediac issue post reinstated checks to the order of the New Brunswick Municipal Finance Corporation upon request to pay the principal and interest on the debenture. I shall move, Mr. Mayor. Moved by Councillor Janice Cormier, seconded by Councillor Jean-Claude Bertin. Councillor Chevalier, so we do not need to mention like the motion is for what? Because I read it like the first night and I was not sure what we were talking about. Like, so we don't have to mention for which project in the motion? So when we do like, when we submit the request to the province for the debenture, that's where like that's when they specify like the project number. And what are the amounts like that were approved like by the borrowing corporation? It's just to transfer in a debenture. So that's what I had. So this sale of debenture, it follows like a ministerial order that was given to the municipality, like to do like a short-term borrowing for specific projects, and we have to convert this interim funding in the long-term debenture, so it costs less money. That's why I said to at least to explain, like. Thank you very much. All in favor, saying aye. Against nay, motion carried. If not, we're taking out of your pay. 16, the committee nominated appointments, none. I only need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Chairman Gallant. Thank you very much and have a good evening.
Vous êtes libre d'y aller. Merci.